Yes, thanks for staying with us on the Sports Show. Now, Poppy, Adelaide Shores. If you drive down there at West Beach, it is just a magnificent setup.
Beautiful. Stayed there a few times, actually.
Have you?
Yeah, well, once in the cabin and then once in a three-man tent.
Right. Were you asked to leave?
No, look, I wasn't actually asked to leave.
Okay, that's the second surprise. One was how big it was. The second one is that you haven't been asked to leave. But we thought we'd find out a little bit about it because they have a great sporting complex down there as well. Only one way to find out. Get the CEO in, Kate Williams, who joins us. Kate, thanks for your time.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
135 hectares is a massive amount of land, and it continues to seem to be expanding. So I think we were talking to you before you came on. Just quickly, how many cabins, caravans, how many people could you house there on a weekend?
Yeah, sure. So over peak season, we can see over 2,500 people across the caravan park and the resort. So
it's amazing. What I didn't understand until you explained it prior is just when you mentioned that the size of the land, just what it encompasses. I always saw Adelaide Shores as just the caravan park and just the cabins, and that was great. I haven't utilised
across the road where all the sporting.
Well, I didn't realise that. Take us through. They facilitate so many sports.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're really fortunate to operate a tourism, sport and recreation precinct in the West Beach. So for us, we have the resort and the caravan park that you just mentioned, but we also have 2 golf courses, so an 18-hole and a 15-hole. So the Padawanga course, which is probably one of the most popular public courses in South Australia. We also then have a series of multi-purpose sporting fields that we play lacrosse, soccer, AFL, touch football. Then we've got a designated football centre, so a FIFA 2-star rated pitch, and Diamond Sports.
Is that the synthetic pitch they've got there? That's an impressive looking venue.
Yes, that's a $2.6 million development that we built in 2012.
Okay.
So Kate, you've had some amazing events there. You've had the Masters Games there, you've had the Pacific School Games there, you've had the National Rugby Sevens there. So what events are still to come?
Yeah, sure. Well, we're fortunate enough to be hosting the Special Olympics in 2018.
Wow.
So that's a great event. We hosted in 2010, so it's great to see it come back to Adelaide. We're a fantastic location for mass participation events. So Special Olympics, they'll stay for 10 days. We're full across both accommodation sites, and then they'll play their sport. So the benefit for these guys is they can simply just walk across the road and play.
Yeah, and if you think about that location, you know, and as I have in the last 30 seconds now, the airport, so close, Glenelg, so you've got a tram to Glenelg, so close. It would actually be handy if you had a train or tram directly to within that location. Would be ideal.
It would be fantastic. We were fortunate enough to have the bus service that goes straight to Adelaide Oval. So we're a great spot for people to stay when the AFL is playing at Adelaide Oval. They stay with us from regional South Australia and then just catch the bus in and out.
It's nearly an Olympic-type sporting village, isn't it? Because the accommodation is there, and as you said, you can just walk across the road. The food's all there. It's close to the airport, so it is the perfect setup. Is there a downside? Have you ever had anyone say not happy with this? Because I'm trying to think as we're talking, I'm going, it's just perfect. The beach is on the other side. You go, really, what more could you ask for?
Absolutely. We're really fortunate. The beach is a great training ground for these guys as well. If they are playing Sport Masters Games, Pacific School Games, so they can train.
And recover.
Mega Adventure, which we opened in 2015, which is the Aerial Adventure Playground. So
how's that going? That's an unbelievably unique structure, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And it's amazing for Adelaide to be the first in Australia to host, to have one built. So those guys operate out of Sentosa Island in Singapore, so they chose to invest in Adelaide.
Wow.
How do you, as a CEO, given the diversity of what you're dealing with, how do you keep on top of all of that?
Yeah, well,
you've obviously got a great team.
Yeah, I have an amazing team, so I'm very fortunate for that. And we've got a great group of people that work for us. So we've got 160 staff. We operate everything, and that's really important to us to make sure we have the controls in place. Turf management, the reserves, and making sure the rooms are cleaned, and making sure the precinct is really, really of a high standard.
And obviously good government support over the journey as well.
Yeah, we've been really fortunate in the last 5 years to have significant state and federal funding for sports infrastructure, which in South Australia it's amazing to have. Diamond Sports is a great example. So a $4 million development. So 2 sports coming together. So it's softball and baseball, co-located with us. 3 diamonds, and one they can play both softball and baseball. And it's seen 7 national championships hosted since it opened. You
had the Australian Youth Sailing Championships stay there as well.
January,
it's just another advantage. Again, you just walk down the road and you can launch and away you go. You know, when the sports come to you and say, can we accommodate there? Obviously, that's the easy part. If I'm going to come in, I want to accommodate and use the sporting facility. How difficult to try and organise that?
It's seamless.
Is it?
So, I mean, we're fortunate. We've got the staff that book the reserves, so the sporting fields, and then they liaise with the accommodation. So we have a groups department that manages the start to finish, catering, accommodation, and then the reserves booking. So line marking, goalpost, whatever you need. So we do it all in-house.
The maintenance of venues is astronomically high.
Yep.
See, and we've just had massive amounts of rain. Is it difficult to maintain the grounds, or they're
Well, it's on clay, so we're pretty fortunate from that point of view. But we do take fields offline every year to make sure that they kept to a high standard. Rugby was interesting for us. It's the first time we've hosted rugby, and they've got certain requirements. So certainly manage that. And they say that they're some of the best facilities in Adelaide.
And I think, you know, you need to be nimble when you're dealing with, you know, as I say, such a diversity of sports. But it's good that you can that space lends itself to being able to massage the area to suit whatever you might have to deal with. What about the accommodation over the journey? Because you do see a lot of growth in infrastructure around that. What about from an accommodation perspective? I haven't noticed anything except the high end, probably down past that big structure.
Yeah, so the resort is sort of our deluxe property, sister property of the Caravan Park. Caravan Park, biggest in Australia. We're building 20 new cabins there, hopefully be built by Pacific School Games. So that will give us, you know, 140 cabins in that site and 320 camping sites, and then 84 cabins at the resort.
Now, Kate, this might be a tricky one to answer, but some sports are easy to get on with, some are not so easy. Is there a favourite? Is there a couple of favourites for you, or they're all pretty good?
No, they're all really, really good to work with, and we've got
She's
great
a good CEO,
relationships.
this one. She's a great CEO.
I think what we really enjoy doing is working with the smaller sports that sometimes don't have, like soccer and footy and cricket have got great, amazing facilities, whereas for us, lacrosse, touch football, it's great to be able to service that part of the market.
All right, SAPSASA, I often drive past there and see it. Every facility that you've got there is being used. Some more of those this year, or you've just about filled that
we
up
just
now?
had 2 weeks in June, so we'll have one again in October. So we normally have 4 or 5 weeks of SAPSASA, and we love SAPSASA. It's great to see so many kids playing sport.
Yeah.
You know, I'd really recommend, I mean this sincerely, I know I've only stayed there a couple of times, but you sort of feel you're on holiday even though it's in your own backyard. Like you could be from within the metropolitan area and spend a weekend down there.
Yep.
I mean, are there opportunities, and where are the best opportunities to spend some time down there? Because I guess school holidays, it's obviously very busy.
Yeah, we are busy in school holidays, but weekends are fantastic, and it's quite common for people from Fulham Gardens to come and park the caravan for a weekend.
Yes.
So the people that stay with us are mostly South Australians, metropolitan and regional.
Yeah.
So it's great for them to use.
What's really important, Poppy, is that you put your tent on the right side, not over on the sporting facility.
Oh, is that right?
So
Is
that's
that what I had
why you were
wrong?
worried you didn't get any fees last time, because you weren't in the park.
I loved it.
Just before we let you go, last question. You've been there how long now?
8 years.
Is there a burnout for you? Because it's getting bigger, the demands get greater.
There's no burnout there.
No burnout?
No, I love it, and no day is the same. We've got some big plans for next year and the next couple of years, so happy to stick around.
All right.
And enjoy it.
Adelaide Shores is an outstanding facility, not just a great place to stay, but the sporting facilities themselves are top shelf. If you're thinking, I need a little getaway, Adelaide Shores, want to play some sport straight across the road, couldn't be better right here in South Australia. Stay with us, plenty still to come on the show.